Welcome back to Is It True News 2. I'm your host this evening, as every evening. Back in the 90s, early 90s, I thought I had a revelation of an idea, and I looked up every site there was a nuclear plant. And being kind of ignorant in those days, I was shocked, extremely shocked of how many nuclear plants there were. I was so stupid, like the rest of Americans didn't realize that we were relying on so much nuclear energy, and for what? We didn't need it for electricity. I mean, we really didn't. Why did they even put up nuclear plants? I mean, I still don't even know the answer to that. I mean, the real reason, not the reason they feed us, the real reason. Why are the nuclear plants built in the first place? My guess would be depopulation. So there can be a disastrous accident. Now, I had called once I saw all the clusters of them on the East Coast. At that time, I was living on the West Coast. And I decided to call. Back then, you could call. And you called, and it was a naval base that actually answered the phone if you had any questions about the nuclear reactors or anything. So I had asked the question, what would happen if there was a disaster or they got knocked over? And the guy said that would be Operation Scram. And I was quiet. And I said, what? And he said Operation Scram because there's no time to do anything else. You have any other questions, ma'am? And that was it. So there's no plan to save anybody. And that was back in the early 90s. I mean, at the time, I was so glad I didn't live on the East Coast. Not that I live on the East Coast now, but I haven't looked on the map. I don't even know if we made more, but I know we haven't updated any, and they all leak like sieves, and we're destroying all our water, and this is part of the plan. I mean, this is like the Rockefellers and the Oppenheimers and the Rothschilds polluting the planet because they have plenty stored for themselves. I mean, the campaign against those people, the ones who are really doing the evil. I mean, who do you think is paying ISIS? Who is paying the terrorists? It's the Rockefellers. It's the Rothschilds. It's the Soroses through their fake companies that say they do so much charitable work. I don't know who these people are, but if you stop and think about when somebody could sit there and laugh about controlling people, being happy about overthrowing a country and harvesting organs from children, and then they have a society over there in Israel that thinks that they're entitled to them. But then, if you ever read the Talmud, that's been since the beginning of the time, Jews believe they are the superior race. It was never the whites. The whites get blamed for it, but it was the Jews that say they're the superior race. But in any event, the point to the beginning of my story is that this is going to happen here in the next couple of months. In July, we're going to have our calculations are July. We don't really think it's going to be before July, but in July, there is going to be a nuclear disaster here at one of the nuclear plants. I mean, a bad one. Pennsylvania, Ohio, or I think it was Connecticut, somewhere around there. I think those were the top three we had, but it could have been It could be anyone, but those were the top three. Our calculations showed us that that's probably what it's going to be. July, August, but it looks more like July. So once again, prepare. I mean, if you don't have cupboards full of extra water and knowing where to store them in case there is some kind of disaster, you better start figuring out right now. Assassinate evil.